Our design tool is not what makes us a creative person, but our ability to make use of this design tool to achieve a great level of success while working on any design project is what makes us a creative person. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I remain your host, Agu Joseph. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you how you can basically achieve this cryptocurrency flyer design in Photoshop. Please, if you're coming across this channel for the very first time, this is a graphic design channel. I basically share my knowledge about graphic design with you all. Please, if you're interested in that, do well to smash the subscribe button if you have not done that, and turn on the post notification bell to get post notification whenever I upload new content on the channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you guys for always watching. So let's dive into this. The first thing I have to do here is to create a new canvas on which we'll be designing on. So click on a new file. We'll have the new document panel, and we'll be creating a design that will be used across social media platforms, to be precise. So we'll be making use of the portrait frame size of setting our unit in pixels, to be precise, 1080 by 1350. Resolution can be set on 300. The color mode can be set on RGB, to be precise, because the design is being created for screen use or for social media use. That's why I'm actually setting the color mode on RGB. You click on the create button. Here we have the canvas on which we'll be designing on. The first thing I would like to do is to bring in the resource files I'll be using to create this design. Alright, over here are the resources I'll be using to create this design. Do well to check the video description. You'll find the link to the exercise files in the video description. The first phase of creating this design has to do with creating of our background first of all. So I'll start with creating a solid fill adjustment over here, and I'll be making use of a hex code of 2B032C. That is the hex code to the color, to be precise. Then afterwards, I would like to enable this particular layer here, which will serve for the rocket image. Likewise, this as well should be brought down here. Okay, these are elements I'll be using, or images I'll be using to create the background. And at the moment, you can see that they are already converted to a smart object, or you can click on it, right click and click on convert to a smart object. This is how you identify any layer that is already in form of a smart object. Take note of these icons. Okay, so the first thing I have to do here is to select the Bitcoin layer. Okay, scale it out, okay, and position it around somewhere here like this. The next thing I would like to do here is basically change the blending mode to this, to around something like this. That is for this. And I would like to reduce the opacity for this particular layer to around something of this particular opacity level. Okay, afterwards enable this as well. This is the rocket image. Okay, hit the Ctrl T to transform it out. Then you can choose to scale it down. If it's too big, then scale it down and position it like this into your canvas. It all depends on whatever you have in mind. First thing first. Okay, so that is in terms of that. So looking at this Bitcoin image, I can choose to scale it down a little and position it this way. It all depends on what you have in mind. And if you are done, you hit the enter button. Now I'd like to take out some of these sharp edges from this Bitcoin image. I have to add a layer mask, okay, and pick my brush tool. The keyboard shortcut for that is B. Make sure your caps lock is turned up so that you can actually see the size of your brush. Use the square bracket key beside the P button on your keyboard to scale up and scale down the size of your brush. Okay, make sure you are working with a soft rounded brush. The hardness should be on 0. Opacity can be scaled and the flow should be scaled up as well. Make sure your foreground is set on black. The black enables you to basically hide whatever you have on this particular layer. So I can come here like this and brush out this way. Okay, that is in terms of that. Okay, so moving on, the next thing I would like to do here is to add a feel of contrast, okay, around this end to make this particular image pop. So all I have to do here is to select this layer here, come over here to my solid color, to my adjustment rather, and select a solid color. For this, I'll be making use of a hex code of 830089 is the hex code. Okay, I'll click on OK. Select the mask layer and hit Ctrl I to basically invert it. Okay, so you pick your brush Now you switch from black to white. The white enables you to reveal what is hidden in this black mask layer. So I'll scale up this size of this and basically just apply the brush stroke around somewhere here like this. Okay, that is in terms of that. So if I'm done with this, the next thing I would like to do here is for me to basically scale up the size of the glue. So I hit Ctrl T and basically scale this out. Okay, so I'll scale this out and make sure it is well positioned around here. Okay, that is in terms of that. Pick your brush, make sure your foreground is set on black, come over here on this mask layer and brush out some of these hard edges like this. Okay, that is in terms of that. You brush them out and take them out of focus. So the next thing I would like to do here as well is to blur out this Bitcoin icon here. Head over to filter and apply a Gaussian blur to this particular image. So I can choose to select a blur radius of something of around this is actually okay, and I'll click on OK. The background should serve as the background, that is to say it shouldn't take attention of your target audience, so that the main message that we'll be placing in the foreground should be visible to the eyes of our intended audience. Okay, that is in terms of that. Moving on, I would like to work on this particular rocket image. The first thing I would like to do is to add depth to it. So I'll start with playing with the camera raw. So over here on the camera raw, I'll click on this to enable the before and the after preview, and over here I will start with working on the rocket. Okay, so over here I would like to start with the basics. To be precise, I'm currently under the basics. I want to work on the exposures and other adjustments over here. So the first thing I would like to do here is to come over here, okay, and play with only the textures and clarity. So come over here, scale up the texture to a good level. So around this, the clarity as well should be scaled up as well. I think this is okay. Scroll down, come to details as well, add a little depth, sorry, take this down, increase the sharpening a little bit to around, let me see, this is more of an eyeballing situation. There are no rules governing this, please take note of that. The noise reduction as well, so you can see before and after of this particular rocket, and you click on OK, you have your image looking like this. Okay, that is in terms of that. The next thing I would like to do is to change the color. So I head over to my adjustment and apply hues and saturation. So I click on the clip marks here, to be precise, and head over to this particular adjustment here. Okay, so I would like to start with over here on the master, I'll start with the reds. I want to change the color of the reds, okay, to match with the color of the project. So I'll reduce this way, okay, and see when to make sure that I get the actual color I'm looking for. Okay, so after that I'll also increase the saturation level as well. Your eyes needs to be focused in order for you to make sure that your color accuracy is actually okay. Then the lightness, you can also take it down as well if being needed. Okay, that is in terms of that. Head over here as well and change this to yellows. Let's work on this yellows here. Okay, for the yellow as well, we need to take this down like this to around let me see, I think I've overdone it. Okay, likewise for this as well, you can take the saturation all the way to the top, and likewise for this we can add more highlights to this. Okay, so that is in terms of me working on this. Okay, so I can still choose to add more adjustment or add more depth to this particular rocket. So I'll have to come over here to where I have the mask layer here, select the white mask, make sure your foreground is on black, select your brush, scale down the size of your brush, and take out some of the effects from this part of this rocket. Okay, that is in terms of that. So the next thing I'd like to do here is to select both layers, that is the clip marks and the rocket layer. Right click and convert to a smart object. The next thing is for me to make this basically pop. So I'll double click on it and I would like to what will I have to do here? I'll play with the inner glows and the outer glows to be precise. So for the inner glows, I will have to start by applying the following effects, okay, on the inner glows. Select your inner glows, come over here on your blending mode and change this to color dodge, okay. The opacity can be set to around let me see, this is okay. What else again? The colors for this as well needs to be changed, so I would like to change it to F106FF 6FF. Okay, click on the OK button. What else? This size needs to be scaled up, okay. But while doing this, I advise you to make sure you are seeing the effect on the subject you are applying it on, okay, so that you know what you are doing, okay. So if I turn this off, you can see the effect. If I turn it on, you can see the effect. So head over to outer glow. Over here on outer glow, change this on to this as well. The opacity should be around 33 is okay. What else? The spread level should be 4 at most. The size as well needs to be scaled, okay. You need this to actually pop out. This is okay. The color should be white, please take note of that, and we are good to go. So click on the OK button for this particular aspect. So with style, we are done with working on this particular part of the background. So I can select this layer, hold shift, select this, hit Ctrl G to group, and rename this to BG, which stands for the background. This is one of the ways you can basically go about keeping your layers panel as neat as possible. So moving on, the next thing we have to do is working on the subject image, okay. You can right click and convert it to a smart object. It basically allows you to maintain image quality whenever you scale it out without losing the original quality, okay. And it also creates room for any adjustment subsequently while working on the project. So I hit Ctrl T to basically scale this down, okay, and I can choose to position this like this, okay. I think this is okay like this. So we have to be very certain, okay, that this is okay. So that is in terms of that. The next thing I would like to do here is to add depth to this image. So I head over to filter and apply the camera raw filter. Remember, I'll have to turn on the before and the after so that you see a good preview of the before and the after. Please take note that while working with this, it is also more of an eyeballing situation. I'll start with the basics, and I'll have to scale up the exposure a little bit. With the contrast as well needs to be scaled up. This is more of an eyeballing situation, so you have to follow this slow and steady to know where to apply some of these adjustments and when not to apply them, or scale them in terms of the amount of adjustment you apply, okay. So that is in terms of that. What else again? The shadows I need to add more light to the shadows. The white as well need to be enhanced a little. The blacks as well needs to be enhanced in terms of highlight, okay. I think this is okay. I'll head over here to textures and I'll boost up my texture. I basically like playing with my textures, okay. That is in terms of that. Clarity, we'll boost up the clarity to around this. And what else? Saturation, okay, should be taken down. Now please take notes. Someone came to my DM and was like, how can he or she be able to achieve a level of uniqueness in terms of making both the background and the subject image have similar feel? This is where saturation comes to play. So I need to dial down the saturation level to a good minimum, not taking away the full saturation level of the subject skin, okay. So we need to maintain a little amount of the color of the subject skin, not taking everything out of the skin, okay. Please take note of that. You can see this was the original color and this is what we have at the moment. So afterwards, I can come down here to details and add more depth in terms of sharpening this image a little bit more and adding a little bit of noise reduction. Okay, so we'll click on the OK button. That is in terms of this. Now you can see that this image is as flat as whatever you have in mind. Okay, so we need to add more depth in terms of enhancing the colors and making this have the same colors as the brand color. Okay, that is one of the ways you can create a unity and maintain the rhythm in terms of color usage. Okay, so here I will start with the first adjustment layer I would like to start with has to do with the hues and saturation. So click on the hues, the adjustment, click on the hues and saturation. First of all, click on the clip mask so that the effect will be solely on the subject image. Okay, that is in terms of that. So over here, we want to work on the yellows on the shirt. That is, we want to change the color of the shirt. So I'll come over here, click on yellow, and I would like to play with the hue. Okay, you can see hue basically enables you to change color of any object or any subject in Photoshop. Okay, that is the essence of hue. Then saturation basically helps you to control the intensity in terms of the color or how rich the color will be on that particular image, okay, or on that particular object. So you have to be very careful in terms of how you play with these particular adjustments. Okay, that is in terms of this. So the next thing I'll have to do here is to also play with how this basically appears on this. So I would like to take this way. Let me see. Let me take this slider this way. Take this in this way. Okay, it is more of an eyeballing situation though. Okay. Okay, this is okay this way. Okay, you also scale this as well to soften the colors, soften the depth of the color. Okay, so you can see if I turn off this, you can see the effect on the subject image. That is when working on specific colors. You know, the image was originally yellow, so I have to change it to this color. Okay, that is the first step. The next step has to do with adding a selective colors. Now I want to work on specific colors, so click on the clip mask so that the effect will be solely on that particular color. So I'll come to the yellow, want to work on the yellow. Here I would like to take this way. Please take note that while working with this basically has the combination of the CMYK and the RGB. Over here at the left hand side I have the CMYK, at the right hand side you have the RGB. So the opposite of cyan here is red, the opposite of this is green, the opposite of this is blue. So I'm trying to play with the depth in terms of colors here. Okay, so let me scale this down a little, but my main focus here should be around this particular side where we have the yellow. So my main aim here is to play with this. Okay, likewise the magenta should be my main focus, so I need more of magenta on this particular image. Okay, that is in terms of that. So the next thing I would like to do here is basically heading over to the magenta and play with the magenta to be precise. Scale this a little, likewise scale up this as well, the magenta. You need to scale it up so that you see the intensity of the color. Likewise on the yellows as well, we need to scale this way. Okay, so if I turn off this, you can see how this image is now coming to life. So the next thing I have to do here is to apply a curve adjustment. Now head over to your adjustment and apply a curve adjustment. Please take note that this curve adjustment, the first thing I have to do is to click on the clip mask. It also has the highlights, the midtones and the shadows. So I would like to take down the highlights this way and take this way like this. Okay, my main aim here is to my main aim here is to improve the depth of color on the shirt here. So the next thing I need to do is to hit Ctrl I to invert the marks. So I'll pick my selection tool here, such as this, okay, the quick selection tool. I would like to come over here to where I have the subject, so that I'll make sure that I'm selecting rightly. Okay, so I want to subtract some of this. You have to zoom in and make sure to be precise of your selections. Okay, okay, you can see. So our main aim here is to apply the effect to the shirt. So we are done selecting the part of the shirt. So select the marks here, hit Alt backspace. Okay, make sure your foreground is set on white first. Alt backspace, basically apply the effect on the clothing. Okay, so you can see I didn't select here well. Ctrl D to deselect. So I pick my brush, still on the marks, and apply that on this. Okay, so you still need to review some of them if you don't do them well. Okay, so I can come here and reduce the flows so that I can blend this side of these beards, scale down the size. Okay, so you can take out some of this and apply the fill color. Okay, so that is it. So this is more of being slow and steady. It will take most of your time, but you have to get it rightly. So you create a solid fill of a light color of that. I think around this was the color I used, if I'm not certain. Click on OK, select this, right click and click on create a clipping marks. Okay, so select this, hit Alt backspace, sorry, Ctrl I rather. Okay, now select this marks layer, hold Alt, drag it, hold Alt, left click and drag it. This comes up, replace. Okay, so the next thing you have to do is to come over here to blending options and choose the hues and saturation. Okay, this is without and this is with. So Ctrl 0 to fit to screen. You can see this is actually looking like this. So I can still come back here to play with the color, okay, so that I can get the right color, and we are actually good to go in terms of this. So the next thing we'll have to do is to come here to make this image pop in terms of glow. Okay, come over here, select the subject, double click on the subject image, and head over to your inner glow. Now, while working with these particular inner glows, you have to be very, very careful. Okay, we'll start with the inner glows. The color dodge, okay, is already selected, and our opacity should be scaled down. And you have to be very sensitive by looking at how it basically appears on your subject image. Okay, so inner glows is set as this, size need to be scaled up to this. This is also set. Okay, and I think this is okay. We'll maintain the same color. Come to outer glow, which is next. Come over here, we'll reduce increase the opacity to around 49. Okay, I think this should work. This should be on color dodge. This should be on white. What else? Scale this down. What else? This should be like this. Okay, so I think we are almost done with this particular aspect. To click on OK. So this is without the effect, and this is with the effect of the glow. So moving on as well, I just remembered I've not added highlights to the face. Okay, so I head over to adjustment and apply a curve adjustment. Click on the clip marks and add highlights. Now I need the light to be only on the face, but now it's affecting the whole project, right? So the next thing I have to do here is to come over here, hold Alt again, left click and drag over to the other white marks at the top and replace the marks layer. Okay, now you see that the highlight is solely on the clothing, but I don't want it to be on the clothing. I need it to be on the face. So I'll hit Ctrl I on the mask layer, select the mask layer, hit Ctrl I. So the effect now is solely on what? On the face of the subject. Okay, so you can still choose to say, okay, you need to add more depth, hit Ctrl J to duplicate the curve, right click and click on clip mask. So select the mask layer, hit Ctrl I to invert it, and basically you can come back to your mask here and control the intensity in terms of how you want it to appear. Okay, so that is in terms of that. So I can come over here and say, okay, I need to soften this way, I need this highlight to be like this. Okay, so you have to be going to and fro, making adjustments till you get the perfect look for your design. So after that, we select this, holding shift, select the subject, hit Ctrl G, and you can call this I'll call this subject. Okay, that is in terms of that. The next thing we have to do is to make the background pop. Okay, so come over here on the background group here, create a solid color of a value. Okay, I think I'll just sample a color here, but a light one to be precise. Okay, select the mask layer, hit Ctrl I. Okay, that is in terms of that. So the next thing I have to do here is to reduce the opacity to, let me see, around 50 something. I don't need it to be too intense. So select the mask, foreground should be on white, your brush is selected, you are still working with the soft round brush. You can increase your flows, scale up the size of your brush. Okay, using the square bracket key, you can come over here and apply those effects wherever you want them to be. Okay, so that is in terms of that. You can still come here, scale it down a little. So next thing, come over here, apply a white. Okay, and for this, we'll select the mask, hit Ctrl I, come here, make sure you're still working with a white foreground. Sorry, control the strength of your brush by scaling down the flows. Okay, so we just need Ctrl Z, scale up the size of your brush, then come here, apply the blur this way to make this basically pop. Okay, so you can come over here, just apply some of those touches around those regions. So you can still control the strength by reducing what this way. Okay, so that is in terms of we doing this. Okay, so I can group these two layers and call them backlight. That is in terms of this. So moving on, we'll have to place in the logo mark of the brand. So I'll make a duplicate copy of this. Okay, and drag this and place it around here on the surface of the shirt like this. Okay, now we need to blend it to create that feel that, okay, this is actually crested on the shirt. So we double click on the layer style will come up, and I'll work with underlining layers. So I'll take this way, so around this. Okay, hold Alt, break this and take this to like this as well. So this is more of an eyeballing situation. Okay, so when you get what you are looking for, you are good to go. So I can leave this like this and click on OK. You can see that this logo is now blended into the shirt, and you can see the textures rightly. Okay, you can see the textures on it. That is in terms of that. So the next thing we have to do is to place in other information. So I'll be speeding up the whole process in doing that. Okay, I'm done placing in the text. So here we have this text layer here, and all I had to do was to apply a layer style effect to it. Okay, I started with the bevels and emboss. Okay, and I changed the style to pillow, set this on smooth 100%. This should be set on it, this should be set on screen, multiply 100, this should be on 0. Just set this as follows. The stroke as well, set on white outside, and the size should be on 1. So after that, I created 2 empty layers. Okay, to be precise, just added new layers like this and create a clipping mask. Okay, and I use my brush to pick. Okay, just okay, let me create one here. Use my brush, create a new one, pick the brush to the keyboard shortcut is B, sample a color around here, scale up the size of your brush, Okay, all you have to do is just left click. Okay, and you can then position it wherever you want. That is in terms of that. And you change the blending mode to, I think it was hard light. So that was how I was able to apply this particular effect on this particular text. Okay, so for the font, I made use of a font called Nexa. That was the name of the font I used for that particular text. Okay, so the text for this also was also placed using the same font style as well. So that was how I was able to achieve this particular look you have over here. Okay, so on the final note, you can also apply a color balance adjustment, okay, by using these color balance options over here and playing with them and see how they basically look on your design. Okay, so you can play with them and see how they look on your design, and you can then make decisions on how good they are to your design. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this. If you do find this helpful, do well to give the video a like. If you are new to the channel and you're yet to subscribe, smash the subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell. For my returning subscribers, thank you guys for always watching. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section, and as usual, see you in the next.